All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Bradford and Brooks. Jim Brooks and Margie Bradford with you on this sunny, cool, but going to get warmer Wednesday morning here in beautiful downtown Bardstown.
Oh, that's nice.
Good morning, Margie.
Morning, Jim.
Well, I know you said your voice is going to be a little under the weather this morning.
Oh, yeah, I kind of sound like Kermit the Frog. So.
Okay, well, we'll try to keep, won't ask you any lengthy questions.
Well, good, thanks. I appreciate that.
Well, we have a special studio guest as promoted on Facebook, and glad that he had me written down in his stack of stuff somewhere to show up. Nelson County Judge-Executive Tim Hutchins is with us today. And good morning, Tim.
How you doing today?
Well, Tim, I know you are a really busy man. I was watching the city council meeting last night, and your name came up a couple times, dealing with like the baby box, what else? You had a meeting with Lincoln Church, somebody about the road project at it.
Yes.
DOT.
Yeah, I had a big meeting in the 245.
245.
Yeah.
So you just going to all the meetings you have to go to. You seem to be a pretty busy fellow.
It's been a lot. There's a lot of meetings. You could go to either events or meetings probably, and even events, you could probably go to one or two every single day if you wanted. And I go to a lot of them, but
right.
It's hard to hit them all, but I do go to a lot of them.
Well, Tim, I know that fiscal court is meeting next week at 6 p.m. at the Civic Center. Mm-hmm. And it's at the Civic Center because there's going to be a public hearing dealing with Luxco's application for building whiskey warehouses on about 182-acre tract out at kind of in the heart of Botland.
Can I clear that up real quick?
Yeah.
We've moved that date.
Oh, you did?
And you probably get it released. You may see it today.
Okay.
Because of the advertisement regulations.
Yeah.
I could have rushed it, and after I made that announcement at the last meeting, we was going to have it on the 21st.
Yeah.
And because of the advertising deadlines, and you got to put it in the Kentucky Standard, and you got to send notices to everybody.
Right.
I probably could have done it that next day, but it was going to rush, and I wanted to be everybody have a fair chance to get the notifications.
Sure.
So I delayed it. We're going to have it on December the 4th.
Okay.
At 6 p.m. at the Civic Center.
Okay, same location, just different date.
Right, and that to give us time to, and we'll have another fiscal court meeting on the 21st, our regular fiscal court meeting, but it will not be a public hearing there.
Right.
And I'll announce that with this issue about what's, the process and everything again, so if people do watch what's going on, Then we got to send letters out and the notices and everything, so it'll be December the 4th at 6 p.m.
Okay. Now, on the 21st, that'll be the usual 6 o'clock meeting time at the fiscal courtroom?
That's correct.
Okay, the normal time and date, place. Okay. All right. Well, you heard it here first, guys. The Luxco public hearing has been moved to December 4th at 6 p.m. at the Nelson County Civic Center.
There will not be anything else on the agenda, so that'll be the only thing, too. So that'll be speeded up. And they won't have a fiscal court meeting, right.
Good, and this is your opportunity. I know that there were a lot of people complaining at the public hearing that Planning and Zoning had. They were complaining they didn't know about it or didn't hear about it in time to prepare. Well, hopefully this will give everybody who wants to speak a chance to be prepared.
Yeah, I've heard all that. I think the Planning Commission did, as far as the notices and legal and all that, I think they did everything right and perfect. And then, but there's some people who claim they didn't know about it, whatever, and it's all over the news and Facebook and everything else. But to be fair to both sides, I decided to have another public hearing and let everybody have their say and make the decisions. I don't want to make sure that everybody has their input. And I think it's important to get the public input. And with that being said, until I asked the fiscal court and to add these public hearings to the warehouse regulations, I guess you'd say. they would never have a say, period.
Right, they could have just gone in and started building
They could have done it, and so.
without any public.
I pushed that pretty hard there. You remember, back in the spring and summer, and it got pretty heated, and and I think we finally come to an agreement on all sides, and I'm sure it's got to be tweaked somewhat, that policy, and we said that during our committee meetings, and we said that publicly, that some things will probably have to be changed, added, or deleted in that policy, because as you go, you'll realize you left something out.
Sure.
But the important thing is, I think, is whether they win, lose, or draw, it's important that the public has influence and have a say in all planning and zoning, period, because it's a countywide law that started back in the 70s.
Right.
And if one has to play by the rules, I think everybody does.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it was a change for the better. Absolutely. So now people do have an opportunity to voice their opinion. And again, that meeting for the public hearing for Luxco's Botland warehouse project is just 6 p.m. December 4th, Nelson County Civic Center. And I'm sure I will see you there.
Well, I hope so. Margie, you can come too.
Oh, good. I always wanted to be invited.
Well, I'm inviting you right now.
All right, thank you.
Well, Tim, the fiscal court at the last meeting had second reading on the ordinance regarding illegal camping. Basically, an ordinance that allows the police to have a little authority to ask people not to camp or not to spend the night on public county-owned public property. I mean, it's the same. It mirrors what the city did.
That's
because
correct.
They were having issues with people spending the night at the farmers market pavilion, etc., and other places. So, and I have. People have said, well, it's outlawing homelessness, but it's without it. See, public property, you can't force people to leave public property unless they're violating, they're doing something wrong. And this, after passing this, if the sheriff's office comes up and you're camping, you can say, well, there's an ordinance regarding that now.
Right, yeah.
And get them to leave. It does bring up a question about what's the other option, because some of these homeless people can take advantage of shelters or room at the inn and programs like that, but some of them just want to be left alone, and some may not even qualify for those sorts of outreach programs.
It's a tough one. I mean, there's no doubt. It's when you go around these bigger cities, it's huge problem. The city adopted this. They've copied it off some other cities that started this. It's called a camping ordinance, not a homeless ordinance.
Right.
But that's what it is. I mean, you're basically making homelessness a crime.
Well, I would probably disagree with you on that, because my thought process is, and I do have a conscience now.
Yeah.
So
Let me write that down.
Yeah, you write that down. I've had it's been a problem in the city probably the last 8 or 10 years. It has not been in Bardstown much until recently, really, in the last few years. And I've had tremendous amount of complaints, even out in the rural areas. You wouldn't believe this. I had a farmer call me one day, and a homeless guy was in his barn, and his wife went out there scared to death. So, there's you get drug problems, alcohol problems, and you got mental problems. There's all kinds of issues.
Right.
And I think our goal is to make sure that they can find a place, try to reconnect them with their families. And I talked to the mayor about it. They've reconnected some of the people with their families in other states and got them back where they're at and try to help them. I think everybody's number one goal is to help.
Well, and it should be.
Yeah, so I think, and my personal opinion is, if you do the polling and the data, a lot of them have drug problems, a lot of them have alcohol problems, and some got mental problems. It looks like about maybe 10 to 15% is the mental problems, and we definitely need to help them.
Yes.
The other ones, they need to get a job and go to work. And, you've heard me say this 1,000 times, this free stuff, free, don't fit with my vocabulary very good. and there's all kinds of resources. We got the Career Center down there open now. They got all kinds of different resources in that building to help this situation, get education, to get jobs, to find them, locate them where they want to go. We've been working with of course, Isaiah House has done some things, and then the ARC over there, I've been talking with the ARC to help these people get their life straightened out. If they don't want any help, then they need to move on. That's my opinion. I don't want them. If you had a business downtown or Handy Food Mart, and they just sit out on the street in the public property and just sit there and sit there, well, it's going to ruin your business.
Sure.
The people downtown are scared to death, a lot of the owners, and then people sitting out there in the streets, and you got these problems, and nobody wants to come in their business.
Right.
They're loitering around, just hanging out. So it's a tough one. I've heard these people say, well, that's wrong. You're not doing it. Well, just like I told you, Jim, the people that's opposed to this, I'll send every one of them to their house and let them camp out in their yard.
Right.
And spend the night there overnight with their kids out playing, or they can go to the churches and just camp out, put 100 tents out in front of the church. Whatever they want to do. It's their private property. Let them do it. That's fine with me. I'm protecting what I call, there's 48,000 people in the county, and I bet you 95% of them agree with what I'm saying. I've talked to a lot of people. This goes back during the election also.
Right.
You got to help yourself. Eventually, you got to be responsible for. You got to be able to be responsible for yourself. And just give you an example. A guy came up about a month ago to the courthouse out front, and he's asking girls. He wanted trying to find a place to go to spend the night, and he was a homeless guy, and he was driving, and he was trying to get from one location to the other, and I called some people to help him, got him some money, private money, and helped him out, got him a room, and found out where he was trying to go. I don't know if he couldn't understand the GPS. He was trying to get to I forget what town. He knew a friend there, and this guy was. I sat down and talked to him for about an hour and explained the situation. He lost everything he had in the divorce and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And he's been out on the street living for a long time. But we got him a place to go, and I helped raise some private money and got him on the road and helped him out. And, there's a lot of people in that situation, I think. So It's not easy. Everybody's got their own opinion. That's fine, too. They can disagree if they want. But the reason the county had to do it, the city did theirs. So then a lot of these people started camping out at the library or the courthouse. So the city police could not enforce that ordinance if it's on county-owned property. Right. It's just the way the law is.
Right.
So we had to mirror that so they wouldn't be here. So the library has a lot of them, or has had a lot of them.
Yeah, they have.
And that way our police can enforce it also. Now, if they're breaking the law, doing drugs, theft, anything like that, they can do, they can remove them anytime. But,
Right.
Well, just what you described as what you did with that man, the help that you gave that man. I mean, that is really indicative of the fact that we need to come up with some way of delivering those services, so that you can do what you described, trying to help them find their way. There needs to be a middle ground in there somewhere, and of course we could do a whole week's worth of shows on how society has failed to help people with mental health problems.
The mental health side of it is, and it's above my pay grade because I don't know a lot about it, but I have talked to a lot of people about it. But the Career Center is a prime place where they can go and start this process, and they've got different resource groups there that can help them. And but they've got
and that's where the emphasis
they got to want to help
be.
themselves. I mean, they got to be able to want to help themselves. You ask a lot of them, they don't want to. I'm fine. I'm staying right here. I don't want. That's all I'm doing. But they don't want to work. A lot of them don't want to work, and because they have had some, maybe some, drug problems in the past or alcohol problems in the past, and I see it and I realize it, and so we're trying to fix it and make it better, and hopefully we can. This will help resolve a lot of it, and I think some things we're doing at the Career Center, and we're working on it with this opioid money that we're going to get. There's some more things coming that help this situation.
Right.
Kind of mirror it, really.
Right. Well, I know the city and county both financially assist organizations that deal with homelessness. I've started an editorial. See what you think about this, Tim. There's different groups that are working with homelessness, and ministerial association, the city, the county government, et cetera, et cetera. Room at the inn, et cetera. It seems to me that a committee, of course, I know you love committees, committee should, with people, representation from all these groups, could get together and focus their resources on, the biggest needs, and.
Well, again, there is groups already there,
Yeah.
and I still think there's duplications right now.
Right, exactly.
There's too much duplication in different organizations that get funding from the state or the
Right.
feds or whatever, Medicare, Medicaid, all this different things. So there's a lot of duplication that needs to be simplified and attack that one problem.
Right.
But again, the Career Center and what we're doing there, and we're trying to do more, and you'll see more coming, I think. There's going to be a lot
Right.
more coming.
Right.
This might be a good time to mention that about National Hunger and Homeless Week.
Oh, yeah. Margie noted that this is November 11th through the 18th is National Hunger and Homeless Week. Let's see. And Bethany Haven's conducting awareness.
Awareness Week
Yeah.
to inspire try to help inspire the public to help in this issue. And then there are restaurants who are donating a percentage of their
sales.
This
Yeah.
week, and there's a list of them there.
Yeah, let's see.
Cecilia's Bar and Grill,
Yeah.
Lee's Famous Recipe, Buffalo Wings and Rings, Scout and Scholar, and Mammy's Kitchen. And I think that's the bottom of the list,
I think so.
Yeah.
There might be others that I might have missed, but
anyway, homelessness is and Tim, I've Googled homelessness in Google News, and it's an issue almost all communities across the country are struggling with, and a lot of them have resorted to have had to pass ordinances dealing with camping on public property.
Well, I was not going to get into politics of it, but since you said that, I'll go ahead and dive right into it. And you just look at all the businesses that are now closing in the what I call the liberal cities.
Right.
San Francisco, New York, Portland. There's a list of them. You go on Google all day long. You got Targets and Walmarts and Applebee's. All of them are closing their businesses down because they've allowed homelessness to take over in front of their business, and they've actually decriminalized theft, basically up to I forget how many thousands of dollars. They're going in and just taking things, walking out the door. It's a misdemeanor. They don't care.
Right.
And that's a problem. And most of it, you go in Chicago, and you just pull your list up, and I mean it's a fact. Louisville's bad enough.
Right.
Louisville, I think the new mayor looks to me like he has started the process of cleaning up and trying to address the situation somewhat.
Right.
Because he inherited a hell of a mess. And, but, that's just a fact. All you got to do is Google it. Whatever side you're on, you cannot keep giving free. And, we got about a $40 trillion national debt, and where do you stop?
Right.
People have to take responsibility for their own life. And you're talking about this food. Well, one thing in this country we have is what they call the food stamp program, the SNAP program. And you go in these, you talk about poor. Now, I'm not saying there's needs for it. It depends on their family life, how they're raised. The drug problem is probably the number one problem causing all of this. And if you look at it, so you go down to some of the other countries, they don't have the SNAP program or food stamp program. That's poor. I mean, you don't have anything.
Right.
So we do have these programs in place to help that. But where do you stop? Do you keep going and going and going? I had a guy, I'll get into it anyway. He had these boxes, safe box, what they call them, where they put food in. And you sit there, if you sat there and watch, and I was watching one of the St. Gregory's, and some individuals picking them up, and emptying them out. And so I approached this guy because I knew him. And he come in there. I did a lot of work at St. Gregory's for the last few years. I've done there a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And so I witnessed it. And I asked him, And, that's what it's here for. I said, well, why don't you get a job? And he said, well, I'll do this or that. And I said, why don't you get 2 jobs? I've had 2 or 3 jobs my whole life. And I don't think it's our responsibility to provide for everybody else. Everybody needs to have some responsibility of their own life. And that's just how I believe, and that's how I just think we've gotten away from that. I mean, just look at our programs, national programs, federal programs, state programs, they just keep giving and giving and giving.
Right.
I think we damn near got 40-something% in the state of Kentucky that's drawing some kind of income from the state or feds, and it's almost upside down. You got more people drawing, you got working. Just look at history. It ain't going to work too much longer.
Right.
Right. So anyway, I think we got to start it, and we got to start it now. So.
Well, Tim, I know that you were in the meeting with Dick and the others regarding the widening project on 245. What's the timetable on that? I think Dick last night made it sound like that it's going to be a couple of years down the road at least.
Well, it's going to be a few years down the road because you have to. I mean, that's a huge project. It's about $75 million, and I went to the Lincoln Triad District meeting about a month ago, and it's a point system. Because you got to have your senator in your house, or your representative, which is Candy and Mr. Higdon on board. There's 6 projects in this Lincoln Trail 8-county district, and I'm not going to take all the credit, but I pushed them pretty hard. We got 4 out of the top 6 in Nelson County on this Lincoln Triad District list map with the point system, and that helps us get it in. So we got 150, which is already out. I'm not sure, they may already started buying property, and then you can go to Washington County, which is a different district. So that 150 project is going to be ran, and then you got another 150 project is a little piece from McDonald's to Walmart. Right. That's one phase. We get that pushed up. And we've got the 150 project all the way to Washington County. That's and even in Washington County on their end, that was moved up. And then we had the new bypass goes from Thomas Nelson to Cox's Creek. I don't know if y'all seen that map or not. There's some discussion, and we got that. And then it goes from Thomas Nelson all the way to Bluegrass toward the southeast. Right. That total project's $86 million, and it'd probably be $110 million, the way things have went up. But the senator and Higdon and the state and me and Dick and everybody, we've got that I call fast track to the design. The design money's there now. They're going to start designing that. So that's pushed up. And then you got the 245 project. It's going from Flagey all the way to I-65. Part of that's in the Bullock County. I think it's district. Let's see, what is it, District 4 maybe or 5?
4 out of Louisville, isn't it? Yeah.
So they're working together to get that done. We had a really good meeting down there the other day, and Burnham hosted it. And one of the big reasons we're very interested in it is because we've got to get this big water main in from Louisville Water. Right. And you can't locate it because you don't want to tear it back out. Yeah. So we're working with them, and Brad Bottoms and the engineers over there working with us hand in hand so we can get this project. It'll probably be 2 years before we can get that done because you got to order the material. We don't know what to order. Right. Then you got to do the bidding process. So it's a whole lot, and then that way we can get this water main in that I think they got $10, $11 million.
That's going to be before anything else starts?
We've got to get that. That needs to be done to enable what we've got coming up now with some factories and distilleries and so on to have enough water and keep the water supply and the pressure out in the, I guess you'd take one out to Woodlawn area and out to Industrial Park area and all that. Going to build a tank out there. That's one piece of it. The city's administrating that through, and then the other one's North Nelson, this big line going down to the Louisville Water. So that was a really good meeting. I think we got it pretty well laid out. They do about where it's going to go, and so the design money is there for that too. Right. So we got that pushed up, and then once you get the design money, then you got utilities. Then you got to start buying the properties if you have to buy very much. Right. And it's a lot to it, and they're working. I think you'll see. My guess is time you get all it done, hopefully in 4 years. Right. Maybe 3, I doubt it. Probably 4, could be 5, but that 245's got...
Are you talking about all 4 of those projects or only one of those projects?
All those projects have been moved up in the list. And,
well, Tim, my question is, I know that because of the widening and not knowing exactly where easements are going to fall,
Yeah.
they can't do anything with the water line.
Yeah.
Has the state decided on the easements? And
Pretty close.
Pretty close?
It's pretty
Okay.
close.
All right.
And we've got that pretty well hammered out last
Okay.
Monday, I think, and they've been working tirelessly because it's going to be a 5-lane project, and they're trying to get it where the medium is not, where you won't have these wrecks, and there's all kinds of different things. you gotta
Which
do.
one is this?
The 245.
The 245,
There's an
okay.
average right now over 13,000 vehicles a day, and they say in 20 years there's 23,000. That's our prediction on that road.
On 245?
Yes.
Right.
And so it's just a lot going on, and that's why this bypass is going to help tremendously. It would open that up and relieve that traffic when they get to the bluegrass, and it would be it's just going to be a big asset. So it's
Yeah.
so there. I mean, between the state and the county and the city and Senator Higney and Candy Mastroni, we all got a pretty good agreement together. We're working well together, and I think we'll get this thing pushed up. Because the General Assembly's meeting, this is their big budget year.
Right, right.
And it's all about trying to bring some of that money home,
All right. Well, Tim, let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with our special guest, Tim Hutchins, after these messages. Stay tuned. All right, you're back with Bradford and Brooks, Jim Brooks, Margie Bradford, and our special guest, Nelson County Judge-Executive Tim Hutchins. Well, Tim, this is a quick question, and this may take a long answer. We are just about out of industrial park space.
Yes.
What's the prospect for getting for either expanding one of the parks or acquiring additional property?
Well, the BIDC board and the previous administration, I think the last 2 or 3 years, they've been looking and searching, and I don't know at what length. I think they've been pretty aggressive, and then since I've been on board, we've been aggressive, and it's just hard to find at a fair price that you got to have the sewer and the water and electric and all that. So it's been difficult, to be quite honest.
Yeah,
so we're looking and looking and looking, and we got a few options, but very limited.
Yeah, well, I remember, and I know you remember when the county bought that that property and the money that had to go into it to bring gas and utilities to it. So yeah,
you got to have I guess you don't have to be competitive. The thing about it is, you got surrounding counties that's trying to lure the businesses and factories, and you got to be fairly competitive. And the good part of it is if you can get some state incentive money, to help for the utilities and things, and we've been pretty successful that over many years. And but my goodness, the way things have went up, it just costs a ton of money to do anything,
Right.
With the Bidenomics, it's just been tough. I mean, the inflation's just been rough, and you got the interest going up to inflation about 40, maybe a 50-year high, and the interest is about a 30-year high. And I mean, it's tough on the county, tough on people living, and it's tough on everything. So, but we got to be competitive.
Yeah, and thanks to you used some of the gave the magistrates some of the ARPA money, I think it was,
In the blacktop, yeah.
to help with the blacktop, because blacktop is just zoomed out of the price.
We blacktop more roads this time than county roads than it's ever been done.
Right.
And we used some of the ARPA money to tie in, and we changed the formula somewhat. I asked the engineers to change the formula somewhat. I think they've been putting down way too thick in some areas, and we used what they call I think it's the brine. We used some brine in it where they mill out some blacktop, and we allowed them to mix it in. That saved us quite a bit of money. So we got creative about how we can do it. So we got a lot more roads blacktopped in the county than ever, and they needed it. I mean, so then we're working with the state trying to get some state money too, discretionary funds and so on.
Right.
How does the brine work? What do you talk?
It's when you mill out a road, like you see them milling out, the grinder, taking out blacktop because it gets too high, and they stockpile it. And you can mix that in with the regular blacktop, depending on the asphalt and the oil and all that. There's a formula to use, and you can go to a certain percentage and you up the percentage a little more where you can get more miles out of it, and a cheaper rate, so that helped us quite a bit.
Right.
It's like recycling. You love recycling, don't you?
Yeah, sure. I recycle everything.
That's recycling. That's what it is.
Well, it's a good way to we've we've all experienced times when the crowns of the road were huge in town, going because of the drainage had to go down the street.
Oh, yeah.
And like, your bumper would hit if you hit the bumps very hard. Well, Tim, what else is going on in county government? I know the Lux Row hearing is a big deal with the folks out at Botland.
Yeah.
And I think that the county change to that ordinance was very timely, because it allows the public simply to be part of that process.
Yeah. I think it's been, we'll see how it goes out. Like I say, some of it's got to be tweaked. My goal is to be, as I said when I was running for election, and I'm going to uphold my commitment, is to go through every policy and regulation that we've got on the books. We've already started that, and we went through several of them, our code enforcement, and we've got some more there to attack. We went through some of the landfill, solid waste ordinances. When I took office, and I didn't know this, there's over 500, I think it's 580,000. It's over $500,000 on a statement that we owe, that the public owes the county for garbage pickup that has never been collected. Over $500,000.
Say that again.
There's $500,000 on the books of garbage bills that haven't been paid, and some of them haven't been paid for many, many years.
Paid by whom?
The people that get their garbage picked up. They just didn't pay their bills.
Right.
And it's accumulating, and it's $500-something thousand, not including interest or late fees. Let's think about that a minute. And now, why?
This is in the county.
County, yeah. So the previous administration, for whatever reason, I don't know, I'm not going to throw darts, but I'll just tell you that's what I inherited. And I'm going to fix it. We're going to collect this money. People get the garbage picked up and all that, not paying bills is wrong. And why they didn't go after them or just throw them in a back closet or whatever, I don't know. But that's another problem that I inherited that I've got to try to fix. And then we're going to come up with some more policies, because if people's getting the service, they're going to pay their damn bill.
Sure.
I mean, it's just the way it is. And so we're working on that too. It's just another issue we got to fix.
Right.
If you don't pay your bill, you know what I'm saying? Why should everybody get free bills? We go back to this free stuff again. And so that's a big deal. But I'm working on a lot of things. The fairgrounds, I don't know if I've been on here since I started the fairgrounds committee.
Yeah, right.
And we've got a good committee together. We've got 72 acres out there. That's we're going to try to build a big arena. And we're going to try to come up, and everybody's got different ideas what to do. Have more of these beef shows, cattle shows, chicken shows, and tractor pulls, and more family events for the locals. It draws in all these people, and we can actually generate money. And my goal is to get it all enhanced and beautified and be one of the best facilities in the state of Kentucky. And once we get that done, then there'll be enough money coming in to pay for the upkeep, and you'll have to have a manager out there and so on. But there's a golden opportunity right there to do a lot of events in this county, and more rodeos, and just on and on and on.
Sure.
My goal is we'll have something out there pretty much every weekend. And we've got people calling and wanting to come in and have a beef cattle, national show, for example. And they pay thousands, a lot of money to come in.
Right.
But our facilities don't have the bathroom facilities. You got to have more camping facilities. They want to have their campers where they can watch their animals and so on.
You got the property to do that with.
We do. There's about 72 acres there. And another thing I want to do is it goes down, the back of that is the river. And if you go down Boulder County where they got those floats coming down off the, where they got the, what do you call it, mall, or that flea market.
Yeah.
There's a big place there. I mean, you just wouldn't believe the people goes and floats the river. That's a big thing. I mean, I don't know how much money it generates, but it's a good thing. Around here, they got to go in and, maybe the Bird or New Haven on private property in most cases. But we can open that thing up and enhance it and have a lot of, that could be a big thing, really. And just more stuff for families to do. That's what you've been hearing, And then, of course, the mayor, and they're working on the indoor pool and the splash parks and all that that they're working on, and we're going to try to support them as much as we can. That's going to be administrated through the city. And what I always say is, you hear some people say city, county, but at the end of the day, me and the magistrates, we represent everybody in the county, city and county. And I've been to New Haven a lot. We've helped them with a lot of projects. I told them when I got elected they will not be left out. That's all you heard for years. I've been down there. I don't know how many times. We've helped Bloomfield. We've done a ton of work in Fairfield to help them out. And we got our inmate program going. We saved, $300,000. It'll be almost $500,000 by January 1st. We just figured $20 an hour.
Right.
With a lot of the mowing and weeding and cleaning and picking up garbage and on and on. So there's been a lot of good things going, and we just got a lot more to do. So.
Well, let's see. We got about 10 minutes left. Tim, what's the looking down the roadways? What's the biggest need that we need to address in Nelson County? You think? I mean, of course, roads always, because you got to have infrastructure to have businesses move in.
Yeah, there's a group. I say, and I'm kind of toward that group somewhat. Do we want to blow over here and change our whole culture? I don't.
Right.
How far do you want to grow?
Right.
You talk about the tourism. If you want to get into the tourism, and you ask people, and I ask them a lot, what do you think about tourism? They say, well, I don't give a damn about it because all it does is cause more traffic for me, and you just hear that out in the rural areas, and you hear that a lot of people. You take it for granted. We got a lot of people come in. There's a lot of tourism, but like us, we take it for granted. Like if I go to, I don't know, Mammoth Cave, for example.
Right.
People live there don't go to Mammoth Cave, right?
That's true.
People live here don't go to most of these things because they live here. You just take it for granted. But there's a lot of things that we offer, and it's so you try to have a fine line, try to give a balance. How far do you go? You got to create jobs. So then the flip of that is, if you don't have some factories and things come in to provide the jobs, you got about 1,000 kids graduate every year from our 4 high schools, probably give or take.
Yeah.
And they say they go through their cycles if they go to college or come back or wherever they go. I don't want my kids to have to drive or live in New York. I'd rather have them have a nice job here.
Right.
So it's a balancing act, and it's not easy. You hear people criticize, well, why are y'all buying all this land for industrial parks and giving this damn land away, and well, I'm not getting anything. So, and I get it, so there's try to be balancing act, try to provide the jobs and good jobs. The economics, Fuji just laid off some. There's another big factory in E10 laid off some. There's 2 or 3 around here that's actually laid off some more. And our economics and our inflation, and are we heading for a recession? I think there's no doubt in my mind. So it's going to be, I've talked to several of these companies that's been begging for help. Right. Now they're quit taking applications because they got applications coming in, and people, they're actually screening them a little bit more. So the trend has already started. I talked to 2 big trucking companies last week. Slow, real slow. That's not a good sign when the trucking companies. That's where it starts usually. Right. The warehouses are full and all that. So it's just a tough time. I mean, everybody's got to be realizing. You see what's going on overseas, and I think it's pretty scary, really. So we got to make sure we got everything, and we're in good financial shape, and we got to make sure we stay there. I made a commitment. We lowered our property taxes of 1 whole point. And the county went from 13.7 to 12.7. And all the data I've got has never been done in history. Go down a whole full point, even go below. You made a comment. You said, Tim, you've done something I've never seen done before. Right. I said, what's that? You lowered the rate even below the state recommended compensating rate. Right. Or even lower than that. Right. And I said, well, that was a commitment I made. We want to try to live within our means and try to create a culture that everybody lives within their means. The library board, I replaced... we reorganized it, let's just say. We put 3 new members on it, and I'm not criticizing the ones in the past, but I got it just a different style, and I think they got to make some cuts. They've already have. We got a new director there's been there a year, and he inherited, I think, some problems. And they lowered their tax rate 1 whole point also, which is a good thing. Libraries used a lot. They got a lot of programs they use. People don't realize some average out there, they use a lot. But again, if you look at the tax bill,
full every day, I can tell you.
Yeah, they use it. It's used a lot. But we got to make sure that our taxes, people's paying it. So you got to be careful. We just got to be very, very frugal and make sure that we got to live within our means.
So how are you going to tackle this problem of you say 500,000 almost
Unpaid
Yeah, have you
garbage.
paid your
Unpaid.
bill? So you might be getting a memo in the
I
mail.
pay my bill every month.
You know, Tim, I
Well, we're
think,
going after them. I mean, it's just not fair, and some people maybe don't want to hear it. But you know, if you get the bill and you're not paying it, it's just wrong. And you can't let it linger. At first, you didn't linger that long, and it's tough because you got. And I don't want to just criticize all renters, but most of it's in the rental property side of it because you don't have really full control of how you collect it.
right.
But it should have been changed a long time ago. You guys could change the ordinance.
A part of that, I think, Tim, is, and it used to be, it maybe it isn't that way now, but if you were late on with your electric bill, which it combines the garbage, Salt River would collect the electric end of it, but not the.
Yeah. You can't when you, and it's, I may be wrong here, but you cannot turn electricity off if
Right.
you don't pay the bill. Salt River bills for us, okay? They do the billing for us.
Sure.
They put the garbage on their bill. And I'm not criticizing them, they're doing their policies, whatever, but somewhere in between, there's been some lack of something.
Yeah.
And, we've got about 12 to 13,000 garbage customers. And, they don't take long to add up, so.
Well, are those customers still not paying their bill? I mean, are they not staying current?
A lot of them are still not paying their bill. We found 100 and something this last few weeks recently that we researched and haven't even been billed.
Well, it would seem like that would be the logical course to go after those that are still on and not paying.
Well, it's just a complicated thing, but we're going to fix it.
Before you go on to that.
Before I leave office in 3 years, if I decide to run again, but I've got a lot of things to fix, but I'm going to fix it for sure.
Well, Tim, we're getting down to the wire. Any additional thoughts or comments? I know we haven't talked much about tourism other than it being part of, and you're right, we have so many attractions, but the people who are local don't, like you said, if you live at Mammoth Cave, you don't go to the cave, that sort of thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things going on about tourism they've done. I think they've done a great job, and there's a lot more they can do, and they're going to do, I think, and it's just been, the bourbon boom has helped a lot, but, they collect $560,000 a year through the motel tax that directly comes through us and goes directly to the tourism board that they use. And the city's got a 1% restaurant tax, generates about $750,000 a year goes to the tourism board. And so there's a lot of money from the locals that goes through them and then of course the motel tax, which I'm looking at, no locals pay that.
Right.
And I think that's one big one that we can try to go after. The state's got so many dang on regulations of what you can and can't do. But people that's traveling, you go to a lot of places, 10, 11, 12%.
Right.
And that's one thing I'm looking at right now, if we can do the motel tax, because I'm not going to raise any taxes on local people in any way, shape, or form, unless I absolutely unless we have to cut ambulances and all that.
Well, Tim, we're getting, like I said, we're down to the wire here. The tourism director was let go some weeks back, and other than vague statements about why, I haven't heard anything additional about why Samantha Brady was let go. In her job as tourism, because everything seemed to be going up. Yeah,
there's no doubt that the numbers were going up, and you've heard my comments before. I think you printed some of them.
Oh yeah.
And, I just, without trying to throw any darts,
Sure.
I've met and talked to some of them, and then we're going to have many more meetings about what's going on there, I think, and I can't give you a direct answer. What I said earlier?
Yeah.
I think I should have been known earlier. I didn't, and I'm just not going to really hash it out too much, but I've already dug in a lot of information personally, and I'm going to meet with some of the leadership and stuff, and we're going to try to iron out what I think is some issues there. And I'm not throwing darts at anybody right now, but I can't answer the whole reason why. I mean, they've told you. So,
Okay.
I just think there's a lot of lack of communication that we definitely got to resolve. So, it's
Right.
it's not only there, it's some other departments, but
Right.
I'll fix it before I get out of here. I'll tell you that.
Well, as a journalist, when a major department head is let go and without with what I think is insufficient information. And I know they're trying to protect, you got to protect the privacy and the rights of the employee. I understand that.
Right.
But making six figures and head of the department, I think deserves a little more information to the taxpayers who are, helping fund those efforts.
Yeah, well, like I say, I've got some meetings coming up, and hopefully we can resolve some of this stuff. I think we need to restructure several departments in our county, and I've already done several, and we're going to do some more. So.
All right. Well, Tim, we're out of time. Thank you for coming in today.
Yes, sir. Thank
All
you,
right.
Mr. Brooks.
All right, so
Margie, I'm glad I got you on my side.
We'll be back next week with another Bradford and Brooks. Until then, have a great week,
Hope you get
everybody.
feeling better.